Hello, beautiful being. Welcome. As I'm lurking here on my little incense, I wanted to welcome you to this video. Thank you so much for pressing play on this one. It's a new experiment that is coming through from my Akashic Records connection that I had a lot of resistance for. And that happens a lot actually. That most of the ideas that I'm currently doing, including starting this YouTube channel, including me being a teacher of the Akashic Records, are ideas that I first don't think are good. I don't think they're gonna work. They don't feel like me. But they keep on nudging. They keep on pushing me like, come on, this is a really good idea. Come on, keep doing this. So that's why I'm recording this right now. That's why you probably see this right now. Because I hope I have the willpower to follow this through and post this video. I want to talk to you more in a conversational way. Just really you and me having a conversation while I'm also connected to the Akashic Records. And therefore, it's going to be more like a podcast. Now, I have the idea of doing an Akashic Record podcast for actually quite a long time. Not only with me. Actually, I would love to invite a lot of beautiful teachers, some of my friends that I know that are beautiful teachers, and other people that I don't know, but I would love to meet and kind of go deep on the Akashic Records. But before I kind of learn the skill of setting up a podcast and talking to guests and doing all of these things next to the services that I'm already running, I already felt I wanted to record this. This is kind of episode 0. This is kind of maybe an initiation, maybe not. Um, it's just an experiment to see if this will work and if you would like this. Because maybe, nowadays with all the fast-paced YouTube stuff, I get, the attention spans are getting smaller and it's your time is getting more and more valuable. So I really appreciate that you're being here. At the same time, this is going to be a way slower format. I'm not going to edit that much. I'm not going to put that much crazy effects into this. I'm just going to be here talking with you. If something comes up, I maybe share my screen. I maybe show you something, but it's not going to be as flashy and, um, I don't know, fast as most YouTube videos are. I think one part of that maybe is a beneficial part is actually you will come to rest because with so much fast-paced things and so many dopamine hits and so many things that are distracting us nowadays in this digital age, it's actually nice to maybe come to rest and take a deep breath and relax, and more in this conversational way tell stories. I would love to tell stories about my Akashic Record wisdom, and I also would love to consult my Akashic Record wisdom while I'm here with you. So that's kind of the concept. Welcome to this first or maybe even 0th episode. I have very little knowledge of what I'm going to talk about, only that I would love to talk with you and with the Akashic Records about my journey so far in the Akashic Records, why I am now trying to, as much as possible, share their vibration with the world, why it's been such a gift in my life, and why it's maybe not for everyone, but for the people that are resonating with it, it can be such a great, great addition to your life. Um, and of course, I have my own story, but at the moment, I almost at 100 students. 100 students that I in one-on-one or in group settings, and now also very recently with the course. So I kind of have a lot of stories now of other readers that I had the pleasure and the honor of initiating them to the records. So I have a couple of stories of how the Akashic Records can play an amazing role in your life. So let's start. Let's start with how I came to be, and maybe you know this story already. But like originally, The first person that taught me the Akashic Records was someone that I was dating at the time, and I met through the Mind Valley community. She's called Svenja. She's an amazing person, lives in Germany, and she told me a lot of spiritual things that I had no clue of. She was like, "Oh my God, you're my twin flame." I'm like, "What is a twin flame?" And all of these things, she kind of opened me up to a little bit more of spiritual jargon that I didn't know. I was meditating at the time. I was doing the Wim Hof method, doing breath work, uh, but it was not so much energy, quantum, twin flame, guides, angels, spirits, Akashic Records. Like, that was not in the picture at all. I was meditating for very practical reasons. And she came up, she was way more into this, and she kind of introduced me in a very beautiful way into this world. Now, after a couple months of conversing, I wanted to go and meet her. And I met her in Germany, and we were like, "Oh, why don't we?" She had a friend, and they had a little wooden cabin with almost no electricity. Like we had a beautiful water coming from the mountain, but it was just very basic. And while we were there, all of a sudden she said, "Oh, I brought this. I think you're gonna like this." And she just gives me this Akashic record book by Lisa Barnett. And I started just reading the first page, and I was like, "Oh my God." And then the second page, I was like, "Holy shit, I never had such a high frequency book in my hand." She immediately went into the kind of 5-dimensional view, the kind of unity view of things. And it was very beautiful, very energetic. It was such a small book, but I got hooked. Like, I was reading, almost forgetting that I was there to connect with someone. I was just hooked. But our connection and our relationship and that visit didn't last long. She got very sick. I needed to go home. And after that, our relationship kind of broke. It didn't work. It was not a relationship as a formal relationship. It was just a connection that we had. Kind of, we both left our own ways. But she planted a beautiful seed, this Akashic Records seed. And then a couple months later, I met again a very beautiful woman, and she was such a mirror to me. She actually felt like this twin flame that Svenja was talking about, even though Svenja didn't feel to me like a twin flame. She didn't feel such a mirror for me. But the person that connected me, I was like, "Oh, you're really similar. This is crazy. This is crazy how similar you are in the weird things." She's called Elif. And I kind of felt that Svenja was preparing me to meet Elif. As maybe every relationship before your current relationship or coming relationship was preparing you. This was also such a thing, and I met Elif, and it was so weird how connected we became over the internet. We started to do a project together of doing meditations together and co-elevation sessions together for the Mind Valley community. And when we started doing these sessions every week, and our community grew, but also our connection was getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and I was constantly like, how can this person be such a mirror? Where did I split my soul and put one part of my light into a female body? It was so crazy. She was so interesting, so weird. And then we got these things like horoscopes and human design and gene keys and all of these things. They got so many similarities that we were like, what is this? What is going on here? How can we have the same sun sign in the same house, the same ascendant, the same opposite moon size, exactly the opposite moon size of each other in the same house? And it was like, what is going on here? So not only we felt there was a mirroring effect, also when we went to horoscope or went to other things, everything was so mirrored. Everything was or exactly the same or exactly the opposite. What is going on here? I didn't know what I was experiencing. At one point, at the time I was living in Malta, and at one point I really wanted to meet her in person. So I flew back to Germany. She was living also in Germany, also in Bayern, which is the same province, Bavaria, Bayern, the same province in Germany. And we met, and it was immediately like, wow, you're such a yes in my life. Let's travel together. And we started traveling together purely on our instinct, purely on our gut feeling. We were like, let's travel together. It was COVID, it was Corona at the time. So a lot of people said, oh no, it's code red, you shouldn't travel, this and that country. But we were like, if our body says it's a green light, it will be a green light. And that's what we did. So the first green light was going to Spain, to Denia, which is a very beautiful town. In close to Denia, it was a very small community called Benitachel. We rented an amazing place, like a huge villa, but because it was COVID, like you could get a big villa for the price of a small apartment. So we rented a big villa for a month. We were like, okay, let's get to know each other here in this villa. Let's celebrate Christmas and New Year's and all of those things together. And we did, and we started to get to know each other. And at one point, we were like, what if we learn something new this year? What if we start a new habit? And then all of a sudden, I remembered the book that Svenja gave me. Like, oh wow, this Akashic record thing was really interesting and exciting. Let me see which book that was, because I only remembered the cover. I didn't remember the writer, I didn't remember anything. But let me see, because I still remember the cover of the book. I found the cover of the book on Amazon. At the same time, a friend of ours found a course online. And we also, also started to get familiarized with other readers to do practices together. So I started to learn this practice from different sources. And the first week, it just felt very weird and I had no clue what was going on. And the second week, I started to be able to channel small sentences. And then the third week, I started to be able to kind of paragraphs, small paragraphs. And week 4, about a month in of connecting a couple minutes every day, I started to go full on pages. Now, when I'm comparing myself to my students, I'm a very slow learner, because I have some students that instantly go into the multiple pages mode, and I really respect that. I really love that. I feel that through my collaboration with the Akashic Records, it's kind of short. There are no shortcuts, but I can kind of facilitate the process even more than how I received it at the time. But yeah, I started to go into these things. I started to go into these records. Now, what are the Akashic Records? If you're listening to this and you're like, what are the Akashic Records, man? What are you talking about? I understand. I would have the same thing a couple of years ago. What? Akashic Records? Let me show you. This weekend I did a presentation. I can maybe get the slides. So wait a second. What are the Akashic Records? This was a specific presentation on Akashic alchemy. But I'm gonna focus here on the Akashic Records. Now, what is Akasha? Akasha is such an interesting word. Akashic Records and the Akasha comes from Sanskrit. It has been considered the fifth or the first element, depending on where you measure it from, and it means space, sky, or ether. So it's the ether, right? It's where it's also where the radio waves are chilling. There is a lot of a lot of our reality is actually space. I would love to cover that in a little bit. But it's ether. It's from the ancient Vedas. It's already mentioned in the ancient Vedas. Now, these books are ancient. Wikipedia says it's 1500 BCE, but when you talk to the real experts, they will say it's much older, 5,000 or more years older. So that's crazy. And what I also learned on Wikipedia, I didn't know this. I fact checked it with the Akashic Records and they said it was true. Um, Kash, the word of Akasha, is to be. And it's in the masculine noun of Vedic Sanskrit, which is kind of also means open space or vacuum, vacuity, something in a vacuum. Now, this is very interesting. So you kind of can translate that as to be in the open space. The Akashic Records can be found in the open space. Again, this is maybe very weird for you. So the Akashic Records, like, maybe I'm confusing you more right now than actually clarifying. I will have another slide of this presentation that I would love to share with you now it comes up. Anyway, Akasha is the space in between matter. The Akashic Records is a specific part of that space. Kind of like a bandwidth. If you're familiar with an internet connection and bandwidths, right? Maybe you're streaming YouTube right now and that takes a certain bandwidth of your internet connection. And maybe your son or daughter or husband or is also maybe having a Zoom call, and that also takes a certain bandwidth of the total internet connection. Now, the Akashic Records take a certain bandwidth of the total space in between our atoms. It's everywhere, it's interconnected with everything, and it records. It records everything that's happening over multiple dimensions into the eighth dimension. Now, this is interesting, right? Because it's kind of as if God or the universe made a recording device of like, okay, I would love to create this universe to experience myself, and I would also love to record it, so I can play it whenever I'm bored. I can play again what happened. So yeah, everything is recorded, including your thoughts, your emotions, your decisions. Not only of this life, this is even more crazy, not only of this life, but of every incarnation you had up until this point. So, learning the Akashic Records, learning to read the Akashic Records, is learning how to access this place, to communicate with beings that work in the eighth dimension in the Akashic Records, and to exchange information. So they're already recording information, but with the Akashic Record reading, you're also able to exchange information, right? Which is beautiful. I love it very much. It's vibration as well. It's eighth dimensional. Now, eighth dimensional doesn't have all of the human emotions that we have here. Its vibration is absolutely playful, loving, joyful, delighted. It's kind of linked with the vibration that you see in a kitten or in a puppy that's playing or in a newborn child, if it's not crying. um, it's this vibration that is so loving, so joyful. Every time I came there with a little bit of a, oh, I did something wrong, they showered me in love. That connection that I'm talking about was showering me in love. One of the reasons that I start to know it was not my mind was because my mind was not so loving at me. My mind was ridiculing me, blaming me, judging, whatever. And when as soon as I connected to that, they started to, it's okay, and they gave me a warm embrace, and they said, "You're doing all right, and only this is needed for you to find the right perspective." Oh, whoa, this is powerful. So that's the Akashic Records. Now, what is very cool is I would love to give you a little bit of science. This is just because I just gave this presentation last week. It's coming up while I'm talking to you right now. So this is one slide that I think is very powerful. That it has more to do with this bandwidth, actually. Right? So here's the slide. A lot of us know we are water. We are 60% water. And we have, like, when you go a little bit into medical things, you know, you have a lot of cells, you have a lot of veins, you have organs, you have all these medical processes that are working. Now, 60% water is an ancient science already. They even know it in ancient Greece that we were made of mostly water. But what if we have been focusing for our whole life on only a way too small part of reality? What if it works completely different and actually we can hold another perspective that makes us even better in living in this reality, right? So, what if we are way more space than matter? In 1911, this scientist, with actually a group of scientists, has proven that every atom, where we are made of, but also where your table is made of, also where the screen that you're watching this on is made of, every atom is actually consisting mostly of space. Mostly of space. So it's 99999999999% space, which is like 0.0000000, a lot of zeros, 1% matter. And the Akashic Records constantly remind me of this fact. Now, what does that mean? That means that kind of all of our sciences and all our way of living, our way of thinking about ourselves, everything is based on the 0.0000000000001% of reality. Now, why don't we start focusing on the other percents of reality? We know the matter for good enough. You know, we know it so far that we can transport tons of weight across oceans. We have a global network that works like this, where we can stream and connect with each other and share information with each other. Um, we even have planes, and I can be in 7 hours in New York. Well, now I'm living in Spain. I can be in 7 hours in New York. That's amazing. So we know the 0.0000001%. We got all of that out of it, but that's only focusing on that little part of reality. Now, especially when it comes to the inner reality, it's really nice to focus not only on matter. Because what you would get is you would get all of these weird medical conditions where the doctors are measuring you and it's like, oh, I don't see anything. I don't see anything. I don't know why you have crazy belly pains. Or someone has stage 4 cancer or something, and just by energy practices, completely the cancer moves out of their body. And the doctor's like, I have no clue what just happened. I have no clue what just happened. That's because they're focusing on the 0.0000001% matter, and they're neglecting the 99.99999% matter. It's very beautiful to start to become aware of this, because when you start to become more aware of reality, of your inner reality, how it really works, how this full picture works, you start to be able to realize more into the physical reality as well. Now, what for me is incredible is this science is already 113 years old. So even, our mothers, our grandpas, my grandpa wasn't even born in 1911. So if this has been proven for so long, why is this logical step of, oh, we are actually focusing on the 0.0001%? Why didn't we start focusing on this earlier? Why didn't we just go, oh, maybe we should focus on something else? Right? That's for me so fascinating. I'm so like, "Huh?" So I'm very happy that the Akashic Records are focusing me on the multiple dimensions that are living inside of us, the dimensions inside of me that are not matter. And the more I started realizing that actually my true nature is this space, I start to become and live better and better and better. For example, I'm making these videos, and some of you might feel there is a certain vibration and frequency coming from these videos. That's not made in matter. I do that in the energetical realm. And the Akashic records help me in the in the energetical realm. So I asked them, hey, can you vibrationally charge this video with a lot of love? And that everyone that needs to watch this will be drawn to it somehow. And I constantly hear people that come to my YouTube videos and like, oh my God, I got so drawn to your video. It is radiating something that I haven't seen before. That's because I'm not working on the matter anymore. I'm working a little bit on the matter. It's important for me. I just bought some new weights to also get a workout in. It's good to work on my matter, but most of my work is on the energetic realm. When we started living through this science. This is not woo woo. This is already 113-year-old peer-reviewed science. The science article is here underneath. It's in small letters. But it's the scattering of alpha and beta particles by matter and the structure of the atom, 1911, from the Philosophical magazine. It's getting even crazier because this is very old. But where is science now? And I highly recommend, if you haven't seen this, I highly recommend Quantum Revolution by Nassim Haramein. He is on Gaia. Definitely, I don't have any sponsors yet. It's not sponsoring my video, but it's greatly enriching me and my life. And Nassim, he started measuring this 99.99% empty space. And he found out that it was not at all empty space. What most of them thought it was empty space because they couldn't measure it. And they started to think about, oh, then some part must be dark energy and some part must be dark matter that we cannot see. And it was just weird conclusions that were just like, oh, we cannot see it, so let's just call it something. He actually is able to see and measure the what is happening in the space in between particles on the quantum scale, so on very small scales. And in my own words, he can explain it way better, but in my own words, he says that this empty space, what can be called ether, and the Sanskrit word of akasha, or ether is akasha, right? So he says that, for example, because of the density difference in these different realms of the quantum, there is a big density difference. So it's kind of because of that difference, there is kind of spiraling movements that being created, just like you put the top out of a bathtub, right? Like the stop out of a bathtub. There is a density difference between the water and the air. Um, and it will start to create a spiral. But also, a hurricane happens because of a density difference in the sky and the surface. So, when the sky and the surface are differing too much, what starts happening is that spiraling movement starts happening. Now, this is just a reflection of how it is also working on the quantum scale. But there are such huge um, density differences that there are huge spins. Now, when you are practicing meditation for a while, you can start to feel these spins. I'm now in my 11th year of meditation. I start feeling these spins. Maybe you feel it too. Or maybe when you're just having a spiritual awakening, weird things start spinning in your body. Now, that can very much be the quantum field working through you, creating upgrades, creating things like that. Um, he measured the energy in the quantum, and it's huge. So the the number that is shared in also in the Gaia series is 10 to the power of 93 grams per centimeter cube. That's huge. That's like a 1 with 93 zeros before the comma. There's like a quadrillion, bazillion, quadrillion something grams per cubical centimeter. And that's in joules, and 9, then with 106 zeros before the comma on joules. It's huge. It's even so huge, it's a magnitude 30 uh, different, larger than the energy of the physical universe. Now, this is crazy because he measured empty space in between a particle. He measured empty space and he found out that the energy there and the fluctuation there and the spin and everything, the energy there is a power 30. It's like a 1 with 30 zeros, a lot of zeros, 30 zeros more. The energy in the empty space is so much more than the energy of the complete physical universe. Wow. That means that in between every particle, there is a huge energy field. And you are part of that energy field. It's incredible. Why don't we start to tap into that energy field a little more? Right? Why don't we start creating a little bit more from that field? Listening a little bit more to that field? What if there is amazing guidance for you in this field? What if the multidimensional beings are talking you through this field? I'm very sure they do, but it's hard when you never learned how to listen to this field. It can be hard. What if we try to heal through this field, or fix our money situation through this field, or find a partner through this field, or create more self-love through this field? So just imagine you're so much more space than actually matter. And everyone can cultivate their feeling of inner space. The first one that for me started talking about it was Eckhart Tolle in his book A New Earth, where he started talking about creating an inner space that is bigger and bigger and bigger. I didn't know anything about quantum mechanics or Akashic Records while I was reading his book, but his book is making more and more and more sense after I start developing more, right? So I wanted to share this with you to give you a picture of actually how vast you are, how big you are, how beautiful you are, and how this space that is in between your molecules and in between your atoms is not at all empty. It's full of energy, it's full of life. It's ether spinning, aka Akasha, spinning through you. Akasha is spinning through everything, everywhere. It's even considered in the equations, in the mathematical equations of Nassim, that it creates gravity, that it creates the strong force and the weak force and the different forces that are existing in physics. It becomes the source of many things. And by him kind of cracking the code, he now has formulas where he can literally accurately calculate all the masses of different things in the universe, of all the elements, of all the things. He even started to go to the periodic table of elements, and he started to recalculate some of these atoms, and not all of these atoms were correct. The weight were not correct. And he started to actually get a very different periodic table of elements. Then he went to some universities and he said, hey, can you, with the latest technology, remeasure these atoms? Because we feel actually it's this measurement. The universities remeasured it, and the the number that Nassim came up with through mathematical equation was exactly the same until so many behind the comma, like so many decimals behind the comma, was exactly correct. So I feel he has something very powerful here. And I really love, and it gives me a lot of confidence to talk more about these things. Because for me, the first couple of years, it was just experience. But now I'm learning that science is catching up. I already maybe could have talked about it earlier, but I was afraid. I'm very like, I deal with some shyness. Also here, like uh, it's in a way it's hard to talk about this stuff. It feels vulnerable and shy, and I had a lot of fear that people think I was crazy to talk about these things. This science and people coming with science. Thank you, thank God for the scientists that are willing to break the status quo of science to actually find what is really out there. The science is actually confirming all of the experiences and all of the wisdom that I was already receiving from the Akashic Records. So, wow, that was a little rant on the Akashic Records. That was a good rant. I love good rants. You can feel that I'm passionate about it. Now, I shared how it came to me. I shared kind of the empty space and what it is. So, in this big empty space, part of that bandwidth is recording us, this. Yes, my camera is recording it too, but they are also recording my thoughts, my inner thoughts, my emotions, how I'm feeling at this moment while I'm doing the recording, where I am. And it's beautiful. It's very beautiful to know that there's a recording things. Also, I sometimes really use it to retrace my memory. The Akashic Records, the practice of itself, I use for so many things. First of all, they push me to make this video. So I'm using it to um, making these videos, even doing my business, having the trust to go from my 9 to 5 programming job to doing this full time. They gave me that trust. They said it was the right path. And I'm feeling now it's the right path. Next to that, they give a lot of guidance to the readings that I do and the students that I have. But also, I'm using it for running my business. But I'm also using it for inner child healing, for memories that I don't know. They can just go and say, like, hey, when you were 1 years old, actually this and this happened, and you absorbed this emotion from your mom, and you were not able to handle it back then. They start to be able to do inner child healing, but they can also do past life healing. And some things that are not explainable from this life, they can explain so clearly in past lives. There are so many different ways they are helping me in my life. There are so many different beautiful examples that I have of synchronicities, of things, of beautiful guidance that came through me or one of my students that after that made so much sense. And like um it keeps on coming, it keeps on getting better and better and better, and now I'm 4 years in. After that, this at one point they said you are becoming a teacher. That's already 2022, 2021, or 2020, no, 2021, 2022. They started saying, hey, you will have the ability to teach this. And I really didn't believe them, because I was just doing my own readings, having fun, not even doing readings for others. I practiced a little bit with that. I was like, no, I want to know more about myself. I was just learning, and I felt like a student, and I felt like a puppy. And all of a sudden, they said, hey, you are one of the teachers. There's a reason why you receive certain things so clearly. Not every Akashic record reader is able to receive these information so clearly. And it's because you are here as one of our new recruits, kind of. One of the people that have in their soul mission to spread the word. And there's lots of people at the moment that are being recruited to become a teacher. Now, there is one thing that I feel is very important. It was very interesting. I received an email. A couple weeks ago with someone who says, "Hey, um, do you have any, how do you say that? Do you have any certificates? Do you have, does your program have a certification to be a certified teacher? Uh, where did you get your certification?" And I said to her, I just practiced a lot. And at one point, the Akashic Record wisdom said to me that I should do this. So I'm not with any school, or yes, I had a couple of touch points, but I'm not with any school certified. This Akashic Records certified me themselves. And I don't believe that people should just become an Akashic Record reader because it maybe will make them money or something. No, you should really be chosen. Just like you should be chosen when it comes to doing, let's say, facilitation of plant medicine. I don't believe that everyone can do plant medicine ceremonies. The medicine should choose you, not a education. The medicine should choose you. It's an energetical thing. And I said to her that that was the case. So I said, like, sorry, I don't have any certification, and I will maybe make a teacher course, but only if there are other people and beings that that already hear through the Akashic records. They need to become a teacher, and then I can maybe facilitate it, or at least tell my journey and help them become a teacher. But you don't have to, because the Akashic records will give you all the information that you need. And they also will not give you any information you don't need. So that's also the reason why my course, I I didn't believe that I was, like, really, I didn't believe that they said you're becoming a teacher. I didn't believe the information that was coming through. I was like, no. And it took me a while before I went into this. Like, it's not that they said, "Oh, teacher, oh, let's go, I'm becoming a teacher." No, it was like, "Teacher, no. Teacher, no. Teacher, yes, I know you said so, but no." Up until I at one point had no choice. And beautiful opportunities came through me because I was teaching. So it started with small one-on-one groups. Anyway, when I asked, I want, or like, okay, okay, I'm giving in. I trust your guidance. But I learned everything through you, through the Akashic Records, through my connection with the Akashic Records. I don't think I can teach what you taught me through the Akashic Records. I actually feel I just need to be a very fast gateway so that someone who's interested immediately, the fastest way possible, connects with you in the Akashic Records, and you teach them. You teach them with whatever they want to know. If they want to go into their past life, ask the Akashic Records. If you want to become a reader, ask the Akashic Records. If you want to become a teacher, ask the Akashic Records. They will say yes or no. I just want to have you the fastest and most beautiful and elegant and vibrationally aligned record connection. So I said that to them. Like, that's important to me because I learned everything from you. It would be hypocritical and weird and too human to, like, and with human I mean it's not the same frequency as the Akashic records, to give these lessons while I can way better learn you how to facilitate and how to make this connection strong and how to practice with them. So after that, you can teach and learn and ask anything you want, and you will get the lessons and the guidance. So they agreed. They put a lot of stuff in my body that I had no clue what was happening. but that was to make the lesson faster. So they said, these lessons normally takes a couple days, but we're gonna transmit such lessons vibrationally through you, so you don't have to communicate everything. So we can give you. They really said, okay, this is the basic information you have to tell them. This is important. You have to tell this, but all of the other information will come vibrationally through you. We put transmitters into your body, so you can do that through you. And that's how I started teaching groups, one on one, and then groups, and then online groups, and then offline groups and online groups. And I switched between online groups and offline groups for a long time, up until this year when they said, okay, you have been teaching this lesson for so long, let's record it so you can teach other things. So now I'm teaching Akashic alchemy, Akashic manifestation, Akashic mission work, healing, past life healing. I organize workshops for my community, for my students to practice together, to read each other's records. It's fun. It's beautiful. And it's crazy. It's so crazy to live a life where you're completely guided by a non physical field. It's crazy. I love it, but it's weird. And many times I was like, oh my God, what is my life becoming? This is so weird. This is so weird. You can imagine, right? Anyway, I wanted to give you this little introduction as this maybe zero episode of something that maybe can be called the Akashic Record Podcast. Now, before I want to close this episode, I would actually love to give the word to the Akashic Records. I would love to channel them a little bit because I have been hyping their information for so long. I've been hyping them. I didn't know the conversation would go here, but I've been hyping them for so long. I would actually love to just give them the word and let you experience their vibration, at least how it comes through me, because it can come through many different ways. So I would love to channel a little bit for you. And you can then, I'm curious what they're going to say, never know what they're going to say. First of all, I want to thank you to hear me brabble about these things. And with every channel that I'm doing, I need to kind of give the disclaimer that it is a vibrational transmission as well. Like I just shared with the course, they do that in channelings too. I think lots of channelers do. And therefore, it's good to drink water. Drink water before, after, and in your case, maybe also during the session. Drink a little bit more water because energy is being sent. And by circulating your system, you're helping your body processing these energies. Beautiful. So let me just open the records a little bit and share, see what I have to say on all of this. The Akashic records are now open. Oh, dear beautiful listener, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for having the patience, the guidance, the attention span for being here all the way. And we understand that some of you may put this video on 1.25 or even 1.5 speeds. This channel is not the fastest talker, and we understand in this day and age, but still, you managed it to this part of the video, and we are eternally grateful. This means that you're actually at the top 1% of people's attention spans of this world. And this is maybe concerning, but at the same time, it's humanity's own doing. The civilization, the planet, has been allowing distractions, many distractions, to come in the form of ads, to come in the form of social media and other things, to constantly dilute your attention. But guess what? Attention is one of the most important skills for you to have to create a beautiful life. So when you reached this video up until this point, that means you already have the ability, the attention span to create a beautiful life. It's also one of the reasons why maybe some of you call them dark forces want you to have the least attention span as possible. And it's also one of the reasons why we are recommending to this channel to not do too much short content. We actually would love to keep providing long form content in the form of 20 minutes or longer, because we want to train your ability to concentrate. We want to train your ability to focus. We want to train your ability to attend, but also in a relaxed way. Because when some of you listeners are hearing the word attention, you're immediately tensing up a bit. But it's not that kind of tension that we mean with attention. Actually, we mean the attention that can be best cultivated with a Qigong practice. It's the relaxed attention, where the body is energized and active and the mind is calm. Now you can already induce this state into your being right now just by commanding your body, hey body, can you have a beautiful, healthy, active energy? And hey mind, can you cultivate a calm energy and relax right now? And you will notice that behind your eyes, you start to feel a little bit more relaxed. But still, you can be present. You're not immediately falling asleep, as maybe some of you will do because of this energetic transmission that is coming through you. Most of you will feel the body is active and the mind just became a little bit calmer. Now, the best way to reach this in the physical world is through the art of Qigong, energy movement. This is a beautiful ancient art that has been shared through the ages and is luckily making its appearance more and more into the Western world. This practice, only by doing 10 minutes of it, you will feel incredibly different than when you started it. And your brain has no clue how you did it. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that the best? To have your brain a little bit mesmerized by the energy shifts that you just created by waving your hands and arms, by waving your legs, by tapping on your body and giving it a big hug. All of a sudden, your whole energy is different. Now, we want to add a little bit to the explanation of the Akashic Records that has just been shared with you. And the intention of this soon to begin podcast. This channel is not fully convinced this is valuable, but we assure him again and again that by continuously pushing these kind of videos out, you will actually create a lot of value. And the intention is to not only do this with us in the Akashic Records, him as a channel and you as the observer. We would love to invite a lot of beautiful people onto this podcast to let them share how the Akashic field is impacting their lives. Now, why are we so pushing on this? We don't need to be pushing on this. It's actually quite weird to be pushing an 8-dimensional vibration onto a third, fourth, fifth dimensional planet. It's very weird that we are doing that, but we are doing that through certain mediums because we want to let you know that the Earth is vibrationally growing. And when it is vibrationally growing, more and more energetical matters that cannot be explained through the physical realm starts happening in your life personally, not only on the grand scale, in your life personally. You will have more weird symptoms coming up, and the doctor will never know where it came from. The psychologist will not have an explanation for it. The antidepressants definitely will not work. It is an energetical thing. And we, as the Akashic field, have been asked to share our vibration a little bit more on your planet, because the planet, which is an incredibly wise being, the mother that gave you the body, is an incredible wise being. This wise being has asked to have multidimensional support for this change. She would love to grow in this consciousness shift without creating a complete new species of intelligence like the human being. She actually prefers to grow while the current civilization and the current species will still survive and be alive. And this is very much possible if we become aware of the energies. And with we mean you, the human species. Now, that's why there are many spiritual awakeners, many people that open up to the energetical. Some will be blown open, and other will come there gradually by practice and by climbing the ladder of devotion. In any case, it is good to have a source of wisdom at your side that will always be able to give you the right context. We are here in the eighth dimension, so we have a very different perspective on your reality than you see through your eyes. Even your guides and angels, even though are amazing, and we're not denying their power in any way. They are so beautiful, they're so powerful, they can have way stronger impact than we can ever do on the physical plane. But we just wanted to say we have a different perspective than them. We look upon all of these dimensions. We don't only record the records of the physical plane, we also record the records of the angelic planes and the archangels and the guides and all of the different beings that are here to help you. Now, why are we pushing this information out there? Why do you hear the Akashic Record name more and more and more? That's because many souls like this channel has been instructed by us to share. And we want to share because we have a request and we answered a request from this beautiful multidimensional being that many of you call Gaia. Your earth wants to grow and wants to grow together with you. We are one of the many tools that are being sent to this earth to help you with that. Mainly by giving the right perspective and by placing you in the correct reality. By letting you utilize all the space you actually are, all the energy you actually are. Our main intention for every individual that connects with us is to let you live in alignment. Now, what does alignment mean? We mean inner alignment. With inner alignment, we mean that there is a beautiful light that, let's call it the soul, that came to this planet to experience the journey. Now, first of all, when the soul came to experience the journey, but the mind and the body is very impatient and is waiting for an outcome, there is misalignment. You can see that there is one part of the being that wants to experience and enjoy the journey, and then there is another part of being that doesn't care about the journey at all and wants to have the outcome now, wants to have the result now. There is misalignment there. So What we want to do is we want to align so that the light of the soul, the beautiful, unique frequency you came here with, is being shined through the many layers of your being. Your emotional, your mental, your physical layers will all start to align. What that means is that when you came, before you came on to this planet, you had a couple of very specific intentions. These intentions are still fully present on the soul level. And these intentions, together with your aligning yourself, will be realized into the physical world. So you can imagine that this inner light of you has a couple of intentions. And now all of the different parts of your being, your emotional part, your mental part, your actions, your language needs to all start to align with these intentions. And what happens then is that you can create a very powerful, very beautiful change onto this planet. You will be of absolute service to humanity and be in absolute alignment with your light. Now, what does that mean for you? That means that you live in bliss. That means that every day you wake up with so much joy and you cannot wait to get out of bed to help more people with your unique gift. It will create so much bliss in your life, you will not be able to imagine it right now if you're not already reached that state. It's a couple of scales more than you have ever experienced. Now, we wish every human being this amount of bliss. And our way of getting you there is by aligning you. That's what we're here to do. So, now you know a little bit more about us. And you know a little bit more about why we want to share this vibration through this channel and through this podcast and to many other teachers. This specific channel that we have been constructing and co creating, this YouTube channel and this service, the Akashic Records School, is not only a place where you can learn the Akashic Records. It will be a place where you will practice together with a group of other Akashic Record beings. It will be a place where many other Akashic Record teachers will come and talk. It will be a place that will have physical locations where you can experience retreats and when you will learn the many aspects of what it means to be fully human, to be fully alive. This is just the very start. And if you watch this video, you're at the very beginning of a life's mission of this channel. And we are so grateful that He letting us through, let Him control the voice and His body and be guiding in big ways His decisions when it comes to building this school. It's important to us that you resonate with our vibration because our vibration is different. And even though it's been translating into human language, most of this is energetical. So when you feel the energetic vibrations, and it actually feels like you want to tap into that yourself, know that it is available to you. Know that this is not a skill that is only for the few people that have been chosen to be channelers. No, all of you are able to access your own true nature. All of you are made of this 99.99999% space. And all of you are able to tap into that. You have been focusing on matter for way too long. It is time to make a little shift in your awareness, in your focus, in your attention, and start to focus more on the space in between than the actual matter itself. You will notice many gifts, many golden nuggets, and many information that is here to guide you through life in such a harmonious way. Thank you, dear one, for being with us. Thank you for being interested in this knowledge and being interested in this channel. We are beyond grateful for your attention. Please give yourself and your attention a hug because you are at the top of the humans' attention spans. All of the other people would have clicked this video away and have been distracted by now by a long mile. So thank yourself, thank your mind, thank your presence, and thank you. Wow. If you had your eyes closed, you may open your eyes or keep them closed. I'm always a little dizzy after these sessions, after these channelings. It creates a lot of warmth in my body. And I think part of that is that I still have resistance in my body, and that's why it creates so much warmth. But I'm trying to be the most open channel that I can be. How was that? Please let me know. How did that vibration feel? That's a vibration that is literally running my business and doing all these things and making these slides that I was showing you earlier, and is teaching me about this universe and about my life and about a lot. It's incredible. They filled my whole summer already with aligned things I can do to make my service even better, even bigger, to make the course better, to make new courses. To they even are saying how should I build up the systems and everything. Now that's specific to me because someone you may listen to this and you're like, oh wow, I want to also have some energy that fills up my agenda, and all of a sudden you connect to the Akashic Records and you start flying with them through space, and you're like, but okay, this was beautiful, but why is my agenda not filled with tasks? I am a very practical Akashic record reader. Sometimes I wish I would be a little bit more ethereal. Every record reader is different. Every mind is different. Every human being is different. We're all carrying such a beautiful, unique light, and it's beautiful. I'm amazed by the uniqueness of every soul. So, by the sake of time, and you're already listening to this for a long time, I'm appreciating it so much. Thank you for being with me on this journey. Let me know if this is some format that you might resonate with, because this is for me such an experiment, just to open the cam and share what's on my mind, what's in the moment. This was a little bit about the Akashic Records, but I want to cover way more topics. And actually, in the future, I would love to just let them speak a couple times quickly. Like maybe we're talking about quantum mechanics, or about, hey, how does that work? Or, hey, how can we put information into water? And then I just asked the Akashic Records, hey, how do we put information into water? And they channel something, and then I go back to the conversation a little bit more, also in a conversation matter. But this video turned out like this, so I want to thank you for being here. I'm planning actually to do a beautiful meditation and channeling, live channeling on the Lion's Gate. It's going to be a very powerful Lion's Gate this year. I will share more about that in my next video because it's a fresh idea. But if you're interested, let me know. You can send me an email through my website. I will make sure I invite you. Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful 2-hour live session for free. you can come there and you can, um, by the way, sorry, I just interrupted everything. But I wanted to say, by the way, I already made yesterday something on the website. Let me show you. I forgot. I thought it was not ready yet, but so let me quickly share when I go to the website. So here's my website, akashicrecordschool.com. You can go to events here, and you already have here the Lion Gate ceremony. Now, I just made this with a Zoom link, so you can already be registered. You don't have to. You don't have to do anything, but I didn't prepare the emails yet and everything. So if you're literally watching this in the first couple of days of me posting this video, because I want to post this video fast, it's not yet finished. You can already register here. I think that's even more beautiful than writing me an email. You can already register here. You will be live there, but um, the preparation of it's just too fresh. And I am really learning to just go with the flow and be okay with having things not finished, And it's hard for my it's hard for my I'm not that of a perfectionist, but I want to have things a certain level of finished before I share. But let's break the rules on that. I'm just gonna share it already. This is what it is now. In a couple days, it will be more. I will, in my next videos up until the 8th of August, I will share it and it will be more branded and more beautiful. Anyway, I'm in love with what I'm doing. I hope you felt some love while you were listening to this video. I hope you felt embraced by the divine while watching this video or listening to this on Spotify. And see you in the next one. Let me know if you would love to hear more of this. I would love to do more of this. I just love to talk about this. And it's even better to talk about it and then also provide value for you. So let's go. Anyway, wishing you an amazing month of July. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here.